Hello everyone, welcome to the United Stand. Hope you're doing very well this evening. The headline will be about Timo Werner. We'll be talking about that in a moment, that a Manchester United transfer for Timo Werner is still very, very possible. It's funny, isn't it? Because just Liverpool fans get very sensitive. I remember this last summer when they thought they were getting Bruno Fernandes and they didn't. And they get very, very protective of signings that they think that they have got in the bag. And look, the reality is that at the weekend, they said about Timo Werner that he's waiting on Liverpool or he's going to stay at Leipzig. And I don't believe that's true. And I've spoken to somebody today who doesn't believe that that's true either. But we'll talk about that in a moment. There's a lot to talk about. Players aren't going to be training with Manchester United until Wednesday, but it has been voted through by the Premier League clubs that they will come back in training. And again in the UK, if you're not living in the UK or you're not aware of this news, again in the UK, the death rate thankfully has come down and is the lowest Monday we've had in lockdown, and infection rates are coming down as well. So if this continues to happen, then maybe we can start to get some semblance of reality back, and also that means football can come back as well. So that is a positive, and we should see Manchester United back in training hopefully on Wednesday as well. We'll also be talking a little bit about Bellingham and Gomez and Rabiot and Lingard, and we'll also be doing Ask Me Anything as well. There is football on. There is Bundesliga football on at the moment. Havertz, I was just watching it a little bit over there. Good goal for him. Good player. He just won't be coming to Manchester United, unfortunately. He will probably end up going to Barcelona. But fantastic player, and I hope Leverkusen do well in the Bundesliga. But United Stand comes first, and we're talking Manchester United. And look, the funny thing is, please smash a like on the video, because we've had a few Liverpool fans coming on here disliking this video because we dare to talk about Timo Werner because they're so protective of it. Look, I actually get on with Liverpool fans quite well on social media. We have a bit of back and forth, and I hate to say it through gritted teeth, but they've been very, very good in the last 3 years in relation to their recruitment of players, how they run and how they play. And I must say, I think Liverpool will get Timo Werner, and I think I will have to sit there like I did with Fabinho and go, that's another player I think we should have got that would have improved us, that would help us close the gap on people like Liverpool and Man City. And I think Bruno's a great signing for us. I think Sancho's a great signing if we can get it happening. But if Liverpool do bring Timo Werner in, he will make them stronger. And I think he's a really good player. But look, how many weeks ago now is it since we had Fabrizio Romano on? I know it was a Tuesday, so it must be coming up for 3 or 4 weeks. So a week or two before that, I did on a Monday night, I'd spoken to my person who gives me a bit of information every now and again, and he'd said 2 weeks before the Fabrizio Romano thing, which is basically what Romano said, is that United are at the front of the queue, they want Sancho, and they've just got to wait to deal with Dortmund if and when football comes back. So I spoke to him this morning, and I spoke to him this morning about something else. I was talking about... well, I'll tell you in a minute, but we also spoke about Timo Werner, because I said, what did you make of what happened over the weekend in relation to Timo Werner and what David Ornstein had said, that Liverpool are he wants to go to Liverpool, or he wants to stay at Leipzig for another year. What do you think about that? And he said, well, look, Liverpool, look, it was also in the same article that Ornstein said, Liverpool might not spend money this summer transfer window, and if they don't, he said, I don't think Timo Werner stays at Leipzig. I think he will leave Leipzig because he's got a release clause in there of around £50 million, and I think United will go for it. And I was like, this is music to my ears. I was like, really? And he said, yeah, I think that they will do, because it's still a very possible deal for Manchester United. And I think what Manchester United, and this is not my words, I think what Manchester United are doing is waiting to see what Werner does. Because the one thing United don't like to do is go in on a player and miss out on a player. It happened with Haaland at Christmas, and it's happened in the past. They don't like that. So what United have basically done with Werner is say, look, we're interested if you want to talk. And Werner and his camp are totally aware of that. And Manchester United would like to bring Werner to United, and it can happen. But a lot of it depends on what happens with Liverpool. So that, to me, and I've got nothing more to add other than that Manchester United are very much in the race for Timo Werner if he decides he fancies that. And yeah, Liverpool will be favourites, but Liverpool may not go and do it. And, to me, that's absolutely fine. If Liverpool get Werner, then I'm not going to sit there and say he's crap. I think he's a very good player. I think if we hadn't got Bruno, he probably would be my obsession signing like Bruno was. I'm still living off the signing of Bruno before I can get obsessed about anybody else, but I would really like us to bring in Werner at United. And the fact that it's still possible, I'll take that. If Liverpool go in with the money and they get him, they get him. And I think for £50 million, they'd be stupid not to. I mean, for me, he's a £100 million player. So I think Liverpool would be stupid not to do that. But I do have a little bit of hope. And what are your thoughts on Luke Chadwick's story where he said that having his appearance mocked during his Manchester United days caused anxiety, says Alex Marmon. Remind me of that, Alex, and I'll come back to that. But on Timo Werner, I've said this before, and not a lot of people want to talk about this, but and I always put value on this more than any journalist, even the tier 1 journalists like Romano. I put more value on this, on what I'm about to say now. Words from the mouth of the player. That's what I put value on. And in March, before the Spurs Champions League game, Timo Werner said that going to Liverpool is obviously attractive. It's a club that's already established and doing well, but going to a project and he actually named United, where they're a big club, but they're not where they are at the moment, and being part of a project to get them back where they are, that's very interesting as well. So, we've been name-checked by the player himself. So, yeah, look, I think Liverpool fans, you can probably sleep safely thinking, yeah, he's going to come to your club, and I think you are the favourites. But the favourites don't always win the race when it's a close race. And Timo Werner is name-checked as himself. I know that United it was out at the weekend, but we know that Manchester United have let it be known that they're interested in him. This is a race that we could win as well. So, and I'll take that, and I will go, and I will vocally say I want Timo Werner, and I will vocally say that that it's still a possibility. I will vocally say that I expect Liverpool to sign him, and I will vocally say that if Liverpool get him, I think they've got a great player. But I think Manchester United are in that race, and from the conversation I had today, that's been confirmed as well. So let's wait and see what happens with that. But I would really, 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 really like to get him. Mark, why are you rambling on about a quote from March? Well, I'm putting you in a timeout, mate, because it's rude to do what you've called me there. And sorry, it's rude to do what you've done there with the capital letters. I don't normally read those out, but I'm quite happy to expose you because I put value. If you actually opened up your ears and listened to what I said I put value on words from a player's mouth way more than any tier 1 journalist and way more than any recent story in the newspapers because it's from his mouth talking about transfers. So March isn't... bloody hell. Oh, Mark's talking about something from March. I hate to say this, mate, but basically March, football died. And, so that's when we were back playing football. So March is quite recent to me because as far as football goes, end of March, April and half of May mean absolutely nothing. So Timo Werner, it's literally a game ago, really, isn't it? He's probably only played twice since then. So, but it comes from his mouth. And I don't care whether it's March or not. He's openly spoken about Manchester United and that'll do for me. But, I expect him to go to Liverpool. I don't know why Liverpool fans are getting so het up about it. In fact, I think Liverpool fans are concerned about it because they know that he's a good player, and if they don't get him and we get him, we're stronger. And I think that's another reason why United should be looking at this. We've got an opportunity this transfer window to spend a little bit of money and close a gap on people. And if Liverpool don't go for him, we should. If Leipzig don't get fourth, Werner's definitely going to leave, says Lou Ton. Well, they drew at the weekend as well, didn't they? I don't think Werner's overrated, John Ramas. I think he's very, very good. And you really feel Werner is coming to play under a manager who doesn't know what he's doing, says Football Skills. I think you're a Liverpool fan, Football Skills, and I think you won't admit it because that sort of an argument is irrelevant to me. Bruno Fernandes has come to this football club. Sancho will come to this club. Pogba's going to stay at this club. The manager is our problem. He's not your problem. That's not going to be a reason for Timo Werner not to come to Manchester United. And we'll see what happens. If Liverpool get him, well done. If you don't, fine. Why so many Liverpool fans on here? Go to Redmen TV, says Vox. Well, I can understand why they're on here. We're just a better channel, and I like Redmen TV, and I like Anfield Agenda. In fact, I'm going on tomorrow night. But if Liverpool fans want to watch here, it's another win, isn't it? Bruno, you didn't get him, did you? You didn't get him, and I'll tell you what. In 6 months' time, that will say Werner. It won't, but it'd be nice if it does, and if it does, I will go like that. But there you go, Liverpool fans. Go and check your tweets from last summer. We're favourites. We're going to get Bruno. It's on my shirt, and I haven't turned to being a Liverpool fan. There you go. Anyway, it's all a bit of banter, isn't it? It's all a bit of fun. If Liverpool get him, well done. If we get him, yeah, I'd love it. I'd absolutely love it. Okay, let's talk about something else. So we spoke about Bellingham last night, and they were talking about Talk Sport this morning. I mean, Talk Sport sources, I don't know where we rank Talk Sport sources. I mean, I don't know. I don't know. But they were talking about, again, and we've heard this before, Manchester United offering Jude Bellingham a first-team spot at Manchester United, which I just don't know. I mean, I've got no problem with it necessarily. I don't necessarily have a problem with it, if I'm absolutely honest with you. But, yeah, I don't know about that. I do not know about that. I don't know what's going on. There we go. That was in the wrong place. Yeah, I don't know about that with Jude Bellingham. I think it'd be interesting. I mean, if it's a means to an end to get him, fine. I mean, I suppose the thing about Jude Bellingham is, look at Dan James. I mean, and this is what I would, you know, actually, I'm about to make a really good point here, probably for the first time in 15 minutes, but I'm about to make a good point here. A lot of people will say about Jude Bellingham, oh, loan him back to Birmingham, loan him to Dortmund. He's only 16. Just buy him and send him off, right? Let me tell you this. He's played more games in the Championship this season than I think Dan James played for Swansea last season. Or it's very similar. Dan James came into our first team straight away. All right, he's 21, whatever. Age is irrelevant. He's played 30 games plus in the midfield for Birmingham City in the Championship. Dan James played a number of games in the Championship last season on the wing. Jude Bellingham's played centre midfield in the Championship. Why can he not come up and be part of our first team squad if Dan James has done the same? And we're not saying he's going to take the place of anybody, but he could well be on the bench. And I for one, I'm not going to dismiss it. I'm not. Why are you so rattled today? Relax. We don't want that. We won't relax. We don't get Werner. It's cool, says Trent Singh. I'm not, mate. I'm not. You need to go and watch a different channel, mate. I'm not rattled at all. If you think this is rattled, you've never watched this show. I'm enjoying it. I'm loving it. I'm absolutely loving it. I'm loving the fact that there is a chance that we might sign Timo Werner. I'm quite happy to concede that Liverpool are the favourites, and I'm quite happy to say that they probably will. Well, I'm not happy to say it, but I'll quite honestly say I think they're going to get him. I'm not investing much time in this Werner deal. I'm just saying if we get him, that will be an absolutely fantastic signing. But we're not the favourites. But it's still possible. I'm happy about that. Peter Schmeichel saying on Twitter he would like United to take Son from Spurs and bring into this rebuild. How much would it cost, do you think, to get him? Says Lee Taylor. You see, this is about like what somebody said to me yesterday about Gary Neville talking about Carlos Tevez. I mean, at least that's got a bit of value, but it doesn't have a lot of value to me because it's a trip. Oh, Gary Neville's falling out with Tevez's agent. But it happened 12 years ago. Do not care. I mean, some people are interested in that walk down memory lane. I don't. I'm interested by the fact that United have not won a title in 7 years. I'm interested in getting United back to the top. I know they've got to fill time, but I'm not interested in what was said about Tevez. And I'm not. And it's again here. Oh, Peter Schmeichel's the best goalkeeper that's ever been in the Premier League, and he's talking about us signing Son. I mean, to be honest with you, it's got about as much value as Sander saying we're going to sign Son because it's not going to happen. It's irrelevant. It's irrelevant news. Like, it really is. Oh, you should go and sign him. I tell you what, Lee Taylor, what do you think? You put the super chat in. Who do you think we should go and sign that we're never going to sign? And maybe the Express can put it on the back of the paper. I mean, we're not signing Son. We're just not signing Son. It cannot happen. And these sort of stories get a bit of credibility because it's an ex-United legend that says it. But he's still talking nonsense. We're not going to sign Son. I would love Son to come to Manchester United. I really, really would. But we've probably got less chance of getting him than we have of getting Harry Kane. And we've got no chance of signing him. Sancho, Werner and Didier Kanate. And we would win the title next season, says Stewie Evans versus the world. I tell you what, reading that back, Sancho, Werner and Didier Kanate, we would win the league. We probably wouldn't win the league, would we? But we'd have a brilliant centre-back, a brilliant CDM, a right winger of world-class talent and a top-class striker. It would be absolutely fantastic. Lee Taylor, Phil Jones' younger brother, don't know what you talk about. And I don't want any Tottenham player. We should not deal with Daniel Levy. Well, it's not. Well, you just hit the nail on the head as to why that won't happen. Staying in London for a moment, though, Angel Gomez. Apparently, Chelsea are getting more and more confident that this deal's going to happen. I think Angel Gomez is going to leave Manchester United. I'll sit here and say this right now. I don't know where you lot are with this, but we spoke about it last week. I don't think that I think he's gone. I think he's absolutely gone. And I think he's gone probably for the right reasons, that we didn't give him the opportunities, that he doesn't trust that he'll be given the opportunities, and that he's a free agent to go where he wants and get the money that he wants. And if he goes to Chelsea, I wish him all the best. I do. I can't be a liar in this. I wish him all the best if he goes to Chelsea, because I really do think he should have been given more opportunity at United. And I still hold out hope. That he will sign and deal at United and be given the chances that he wants. But I actually would say that why would he suddenly get chances when we've let his contract run down for 18 months? I think even if we did give him a contract, he wouldn't be given the chances anyway. So I think Angel Gomez is gone. Jake says that Havertz is a player every team should be after. Well, the Kai Havertz thing's very interesting, actually. Good point. I mean, he's playing at the moment for Leverkusen, but everybody knows that he's an absolutely fantastic talent. I think he's about 20 years of age. The thing about Havertz is that we've got Bruno and we've got Pogba, and if you bought Havertz, how would you even contemplate playing all three of them? We are not going to spend Havertz that Leverkusen will want a lot of money for. So we are not going to get Havertz. But Sport, who are very close media outlet to Barcelona, are saying that he's going to go to Barcelona. And I thought straight away, well, where are they getting the money for that? But again, in that article, it's talking about what Fabrizio Romano said a few weeks ago, swap deals. Basically, Leverkusen are going to get 2 promising youth players from Barcelona and a first teamer, I don't know who it is, for Havertz. And this is what Barcelona are going to do. And remember what Fabrizio was saying about Lautaro Martinez from Inter. They're going to swap somebody from Barca or some players from Barca to get him. And this is how Barcelona are going to get big signings done. Because Barcelona, I don't want to talk about Barcelona for long, but Barcelona are in a right bloody state. Their signings recently have been terrible. So, yeah, we're not going to get Havertz. I like Havertz, but we're not going to get him. And I think the less we talk about it, the better, because that is a wasted pursuit, really. Canton R7 says, Sancho and Bellingham with Pogba staying my dream realistic summer window. What's your realistic window, mate? Sancho and Bellingham with Pogba staying is my dream window. You know what, mate? I don't get in the live comments. What's your dream realistic summer, and I'll read some of that. Remember, we are a little bit later in the show. We're going to do Ask Me Anything, so you can ask me anything, and I'll go through some of that. But what's your realistic dream? What's your realistic dream summer window? And I think that Canton R7 one is probably about as accurate as I would get as a predicted realistic one. I do think Sancho will come in, and I do think we're going to get Bellingham. Anything beyond that, I can't really say, yes, I think it's going to happen. Look, Grealish could happen. Timo Werner could happen. Moussa Dembele could happen. Agallo could happen. There's lots that could happen, but I do think that I'm almost as confident of Bellingham as I am of Sancho, which is about 70%, which is quite high when it comes to transfer windows. Duncan Castles has said something, apparently. They're in. Manchester United are in for Touré, who I think is a left back in France. That's from Porrick Parr. Is the Moussa Dembele 62 million transfer news true? No. There's a couple of stories floating around at the moment which come from a website in Spain that I've never really had any knowledge of. So I don't give it any credibility until proven otherwise. And they've basically said that Saul Niguez and Moussa Dembele are done deals in the last week, which they're not. They might have guessed something, but they're not. My dream realistic summer would be obviously Sancho. I am going to throw Timo Werner in there, yes, and Bellingham as well. And those three for me would be perfect, because you get the winger, the striker, and the midfielder. And when I say the midfielder, what people don't realise about Bellingham is he's probably more of a CDM than Partey, and people want Partey. The only thing about Bellingham is his age, but his strength is tackling, tracking down the ball, tenacity, passing the ball. Bellingham is that player. He's not the Bruno or the Havertz or the Pereira. What is Pereira? But he's not an attacking midfielder. He's a proper midfielder. He's a holding midfielder. He's a box to box midfielder. So, to me, Bellingham, Sancho, and Werner would be elite as a summer. So that I would love to see that happen. If you want me to get greedy, you know what? I'd be very happy with that. I would be absolutely over the moon with that. George Carl says that he's heard that Bellingham's the next Eric Dyer. He's much better than that. And what's my thoughts on Julian Brandt, says the MVP. I really do like him. I do. I think he played very well at the weekend, and a lot of people noticed that. But I liked him at Leverkusen, and I think he's got an air of Bruno about him. And but you know, we don't need these sort of players anymore because we've got Bruno. Mark, you're being greedy there, says Rosie Smith, having wanting 3 players. But you know what? I think without the lockdown we would have expected 3 players, Rosie. So, you know, if we're going to take advantage of the lockdown, we need to do it at least what we were doing before, if you know what I mean. Soham says Sancho, Partey, Werner, Konate, Bellingham. Dream on. That's greed. And do you think there is any truth in Saul's transfer? Absolutely not. And Mark, do you think we will sell and for how much? Realistic summer would be Pogba to stay and sign Sancho. Can't see us doing a lot of business. Think all our eggs are in the Sancho basket, says Sean Turner. But you know what, Sean, and I think everybody, if Pogba stays and Sancho comes in and that's our business, would you really moan about that? I mean, look, I think we want more, and I think Ollie wants more, and I think United know they need more, and we as fans definitely know we need more. But you could be a club like Arsenal who are going to get nothing. So, you know, if we just get Sancho, we just get Sancho. But I would hope that we get Bellingham as well. I think that's really important. Mark, do you believe that Koulibaly would be a player we could realistically get this summer, or is centre-back not a priority, says Michael Melro? Koulibaly's going to get linked to us all summer. We won't sign Koulibaly. I'm going to give you 3 players now that we won't sign this summer. We won't sign Koulibaly. We won't sign Saul Niguez, and we won't sign Jimenez from Wolves either. Those 3 players will get linked to us, but we won't sign them. Now, I've probably just set myself up as a little clip here. Imagine if we bought all 3. I retire. But look, I like all 3 of those players, and in a different way, they would be good signings. But we won't sign those players, but we will keep getting linked to them. They will keep being mentioned, but we won't sign them. I can't see it. Thanks for all the super chats from everybody so far, by the way. I am going to be taking some of your questions in a minute, and please do smash a like on the video. We've been ambushed by Liverpool fans who are getting a little bit sensitive about Werner, who I think they will get anyway, but they need to accept that we are in the race for him, and we could end up getting him. But as regards to players leaving Manchester United, Jesse Lingard was talking again today on United. I mean, he must have made more appearances on United socials over this lockdown than any other player, because he's very good at it. And he was talking about, I mean, I think in a general sense, my interpretation was, I'm just happy to be at the club, playing Manchester United. Things have been going on off the pitch, but, you know, the history of this club, I just want to play, etc. I don't feel as if he went, my future's here at Manchester United. I didn't get that. I just got a general, I like playing for Manchester United. I love playing football, and that's what I want to do. And that, you know, you can't knock Lingard for that. But do I think Lingard will move? I mean, look, what did we say as soon as Mino Raiola got attached to Jesse Lingard? That tends to mean there's going to be a move. Fabrizio Romano said it as well when he was on the show. So I think that if the lockdown hadn't happened and coronavirus had not happened, I think Lingard was definitely leaving this summer. The problem Lingard has, and any other player that may have been leaving United has, is they're going to be trying to leave in a very reduced market. And who's going to buy Jesse Lingard? United like Lingard. Ollie likes Lingard. I mean, look at the amount of chances he's given him. And I think he will give him more chances. But I do think that Lingard leaving United is the best for everybody. It's best for his career, which is always the priority when you're talking about a player. It's best for Manchester United. And I just think he takes a space off somebody else. I think if he's on the bench, I mean, because he's not a starter, but if you put him on the bench, that's probably depriving James or Greenwood or Mata or Bellingham a place on the bench. That's presuming, you know, and also, what about a Fred or a McTominay? Because you can only play 3 midfielders. So, you know, and that's if we don't buy a striker, because what if Igalo stays or Werner comes in? So I don't see how Lingard gets on the bench, but I always feel as if Ollie would put him on the bench. So I think that the Lingard United thing has become a friendship rather than an ability-based thing. And I don't like saying that, but I do. I think, Lingard, I like Lingard. I'm sure most of you like Lingard. Ollie clearly likes him. He's come through the United youth setup. He loves being at United. And I think there is that sort of acceptance that he's had some things going off the pitch which haven't been great for him, and that's very sad. But I just feel that the relationship's become a little bit comfortable for both sides. And actually, if he hadn't come through the youth setup and he didn't have the problems off the pitch, I think he would have been sold as a flop. Because, well, not a flop, that's a hard word to say, but I think he would have been moved on as a player that's, sort of reached the end of the road of his career at United. So I think the best thing for him is to move on, and I would hope that Raiola does sort him a move out. But I'm starting to think that he might not be able to get it, and he may have to stay another season. Mark, when are you going to make United stand masks, says Marky. Why would I do that? And hope you're doing well, says Dommies123. Last week, Ollie mentioned United are going to try a new attack style. What do you think it is? I don't know. And I don't know about. I just don't know. I can't give you anything more than that. I don't know what his new attack style is going to be. But our current attack style is counter-attacking, so anything's an improvement. So I look forward to that. Trent Singh says, other United channels, you know who, are saying we will get Saul and we won't get Werner. Not sure who to believe here. Well, mate, go and watch the other channel. That's what I would say. And I don't normally say that, but they're talking out their arse. They are. I could say we're going to get Saul Niguez and we're not going to get Werner, but the reality is we're not going to get Saul Niguez. Pogba's got to leave for Saul Niguez to become even a possibility. We're not. This Saul Niguez story at the moment is coming from an internet outlet in Spain that are not. They're not even. They're not known. So there is nothing out there about Niguez coming to Manchester United. And I've got to be honest here. I don't feel that Saul Niguez is an Ole Gunnar Solskjaer signing. I think Ollie's more likely to go for a Declan Rice than a Saul Niguez. I'd like Saul Niguez to come to Manchester United, but I just do not see it. And I think with Timo Werner, Liverpool are favourites, but we know Manchester United have been speaking to Timo Werner in relation to the way that we've been talking to Sancho. So to dismiss the Werner signing and say we're getting Saul Niguez is very, very naive. Mark, when you impersonated Ollie this afternoon calling the players by the nicknames, my drink went everywhere. You do brighten my day. Stay safe and keep the comedy coming, says Songwriter 95. You see, I would replicate that in that impersonation, but I'm terrible when I actually don't mean to do it. I was going Anto, Rashi, Lingy, Jonesy. We got to get players up. I'd wait a year if I see if we could get past COVID and sell Lingard when the English tax returns. We need an inflated price for him, says Michael Melrose. Yeah, and I think United might look at that. And Mr. Hindle says brandnewyoutube.com. Don't know what that's all about, but thank you for this the contribution. Very, very generous of you there. Yeah, so that's where we sort of stand on the Lingard thing. Hi, Mark. What difficulty is your career mode on? Says Carl Newton. Oh my God, Carl. How many? It's legendary, because I am legendary at FIFA. But no, it is legendary. On a serious note, 2:30 tomorrow on Mark Goldbridge. That's football. If you are on lockdown and you want to take a late lunch or you're not got anything to do, I am in the Champions League final tomorrow. I was in the Champions League final last year. Which was actually 2 weeks ago, because it doesn't take that long to go through a season, and I lost to Man City. But I knocked them out in the quarterfinals this time, and tomorrow, 2:30, I'm in the Champions League final. So if you want to watch that live, Mark Goldbridge, that's football. Who will be the players heading out this season, says Siddharth Jan? Well, I think, start chucking some questions then. I don't know. I'm going to get a good night's sleep tonight. I don't know whether to wear the suit, though. But yeah, I don't know who's going to go out the door. It's very difficult. It's like predicting who's going to come in the door. It's like predicting, Man City to me have been very quiet, but we know they've got a lot of money. So are they? Who are Man City going to sign in the summer? Because they'll sign somebody. Will Liverpool genuinely not sign anybody for the second summer in a row? Chelsea will surely buy in players as well. Everything seems to be focused on United at the moment, but I think there will be other clubs that do sign. Please share the video if you're watching on the share button and smash a like. Subscribe if you're new. Start chucking us some questions. George says don't wear the suit, it's unlucky. And is Ndidi out of the question, says Rahul Sharma. Yeah, Yeah, there's certain players that are out the question. I mean, Schmeichel saying we should sign Son, waste of time, never going to happen. Don't even bother picking up the phone. United should sign Ndidi. Yes, they should. He's the most complete specialist centre defensive midfielder in the Premier League. We haven't got a chance. Move on. There's certain players you just can't get. If you want Harry Kane, we're not getting Harry Kane. So I'd almost put Saul Niguez into that as well. To be absolutely honest, we're not getting Saul Niguez. Unless something massively changes. The only way I could see United getting Saul Niguez is if we actually get some money for Pogba, or we don't get Sancho and we use the money for that, which would be odd. You don't need Saul Niguez when you've got... You know what? United don't need Jack Grealish. We don't need Jack Grealish unless Pogba goes. And the guy I was talking to today, when I spoke to him about Sancho about 5 weeks ago, he said exactly that to me about Grealish. He said, look, United like Grealish, they want Grealish, whatever. I can tell you anything about how much United want Grealish, but it's all based on Pogba. And when United were looking to bring Grealish and get a Grealish deal done in February, they knew full well that Pogba was going to force a move in the summer. But the world has changed now. In February, trying to get a deal done for Grealish because Grealish is going to go to the Euros and his price is going to go up makes a lot of sense for Manchester United, because they also know that in July, Pogba's going to force a move like he didn't last year and he'll get his move. But then in March, the world goes into lockdown, financial crisis everywhere, and suddenly Pogba's escape routes disappear. And now United are like, well, we haven't finalised anything with Grealish. If Pogba goes, we can get back into that conversation. But if Pogba stays, we don't need to be in that conversation. If Pogba stays, you don't need Grealish. You don't need to spend 80, 90 million pounds on Saul Niguez, because you've got Fernandes, Pogba. Imagine if you had Fernandes and Bruno and they were two players. You've got Bruno Fernandes, you've got Pogba, you've got Scott McTominay, you've got Nemanja Matic, and you've got Fred. You've got 5 players that are all, well, Pogba's not played this season, but 5 very good players there. You add Jude Bellingham in and you've got your complete 6. You've got the youth player. You've got what we've got up front with Greenwood. You've got a young player with amazing talent to work with the more experienced players to grow. We don't need another midfielder. So if Pogba stays, if you want Saul Niguez, Pogba's got to go and you've got to get money for him. I don't think it's gonna happen. United don't expect it to happen. Mark, you're a legend. Forget Sancho. Let's get Haaland off of them 80 million. He's a proper forward, says Sanchez. Thanks for the contribution, Mr. Hindle. And Sean Turner, why are we being linked with centre midfielders? We've got Bruno, Pogba, McTominay, Fred and Matic. We need a winger, striker and centre back. Exactly, Sean. Exactly. Hi, Mark. Discarding everything to do with their playing careers and based on their current club management, who would you rather, Ollie, Lampard or Arteta? Whoa. Ash G, what are you saying there? Discarding everything. Well, get involved in the live comments as well, and let's see what everyone's saying. Discarding everything to do with their playing careers and based on their current club management, who would you rather, Ollie, Lampard or Arteta? Don't know enough about Arteta, so he's out the equation. I do like the way that Lampard plays football at Chelsea, and I do like how he's used the youth, whether he's had to or not. I do like the way he does it. I like Ollie's. I'm going to say Solskjaer, and that's just bias. But Solskjaer's beaten Lampard 3 times tactically. The way he beat him, I didn't like it, sitting back and hitting on the break. But I think there's more to come with Ollie, whereas I think Lampard has set his stall out and has been tactically overdone by Ollie 3 times. So I think there's more potential in Ollie than there is in Lampard, although I wouldn't disagree with anyone going for Lampard, because I think the hand that he's shown is more easy on the eye than Ollie at the moment. Songwriter95 says, if we bought Sancho, Werner, Partey and Koulibaly and kept Pogba, can you see us winning the title, Mark? I think that team would be very capable. Bought Sancho, Werner, Partey. Yes. But I'd be stunned if we got anywhere near those 4 players. Thanks, Mark. Brand new tube, says Mr. Hindle. I wonder who that is. And Mojo says, but Mark, if Pogba wants to leave next season, 1, his contract will be nearing its end, and 2, because he wants to leave, we wouldn't get a selling price. Yes. The problem with Pogba staying, and I've said this before, is if he stays and he doesn't sign a new contract, all next season we're going to get, he's off to Real Madrid, he's off to Barcelona. But next summer would be when you bought Grealish, not now. There's no point in buying a Grealish if you can't play in games, can you? Callum Murray says, look, Luke Chadwick. So Luke Chadwick was a player for United sort of in the late 90s, early noughties really. Probably more early noughties he came through, actually, because I was living in Ireland at the time, so it would have been sort of 2000, 2001. I definitely remember his goal against Leeds. I think Beckham got dropped for it. And, yeah, I mean, look, Luke Chadwick was sort of... I think he was a bit of a revelation in the youth side as far as I can remember. I think he scored a lot of goals. He was a winger. And there was, this is the thing I always say, because, a lot of you are younger than me, and you'll start talking about players in the youth setup. Oh, he's going to be this, he's going to be that. I mean, this has been going on for years. United and youth goes back to the Busby Babes. So United and youth, ever since the Busby Babes, there was people in the 60s talking about players, 70s, 80s, 90s, and some of them work and a lot of them don't. And with Luke Chadwick, I remember at the time there was a big buzz about Luke Chadwick being the next big player to come through. And he showed a few glimpses, but it was very obvious very soon that he wasn't going to be good enough. And I think in the modern game of Twitter and YouTube, I'm sort of glad Luke Chadwick played when he did, because I think he's right. He speaks about the criticism he got from the stands because his face was, he had quite bad acne, and it wasn't United fans picking on him, it was rival fans. That you see a reason to have a go at them, you have a go at them. Graham Lasso used to get homophobic remarks. I mean, Robbie Fowler sort of did it to him on the pitch, didn't he? So football was a little bit different then, and I've always said this, whether it's racism, sexism, homophobia, football is a lot better. Thank you, Mr. Hindley, says Pogba out. So if Luke Chadwick, he's come out and said that he struggled with that, and that's all the credit for him, because as a footballer, when things aren't going your way and you're getting criticised because how you look, it's not good, is it? And I do think actually if he was playing now, that would be addressed far better than it was in those days. But on the other hand, I think if he was playing now, he'd get a lot of stick on social media as well. So yeah, that sort of honesty is really good to see, because it exposes what these players are, just human beings, which is what we've talked about Lingard a lot over the last few months. Look, he's not been good enough on the pitch, but that's his performance on the pitch. He's an entertainer. If he's not good enough, he shouldn't be playing. But we should also be empathetic to the fact that there's clearly things going off in his private life. Stefan says we need depth in the midfield, since when Grealish is too good for our bench. If we wanted him for cheap, we just had to bloody scout him before he cost 50 million. And let's have a look at what other people are talking about. Waltzing Matilda has had his message deleted. Must have been naughty. And we will finish top 4 next season, says Kean Blake. I'm very confident that United will finish top 4 this season if football comes back. I do think that will happen. SMS says it looks like Barcelona are now making the mistakes that United made, signing Malcolm, Coutinho, and now trying to sign Pjanic. There's more than that with Barcelona, isn't there? There's Malcolm, there's Coutinho, there's Ousmane Dembele, there's Griezmann. I mean, how much you're getting close to £400 million worth of flops there, aren't you? They have bought very, very badly over the last while, Barcelona. Thanks, Mr. Hindle. And United need Grealish, defo, even if Pogba stays, says Thomas Barlett. But if Pogba goes, another centre mid is needed. Try a proper CDM. Well, I mean, look, Thomas, I've got to disagree with you on that one. If Pogba stays, why do we need Grealish? Assuming we get Sancho, you'd have Sancho on the right, you'd have Greenwood, Dan James, Marcus Rashford, and Anthony Martial. You'd have 5. We need a striker, so Igalo's got to stay, or we get another one in. So you've got 6 players for your front 3 positions. Great, okay, that's enough cover. Your 3 midfielders, you've got Matic, Pogba, Bruno, McTominay, Fred for 3 positions. Remember, we've still got Pereira, Lingard and Mata. There's no way all 3 of them are going to go as well. Then you want to add Grealish into the equation. I think it's too many. And as I said, I think Grealish is totally dependent on Pogba, who could still leave, but yeah. Players are not going back to training tomorrow, Alex. Apparently it's going to be on Wednesday. A lot of Premier League footballers are going back training tomorrow, but Manchester United apparently are going to do it on Wednesday. Daniel Phillips says depth in midfield is why, Mark. Can you honestly say Fred or McTominay is better than Grealish? I think they both play in a different position. I think if you've watched Grealish, you'd know that. Grealish is more of an attacking player, whereas Fred and McTominay are more box-to-box defensive players. Mark, with Smalling and Sanchez, I disagree with you there. I would like Grealish to be at Manchester United, but Grealish plays in a position that is more of an attacking midfielder. And in those positions, we've got Bruno, Mata, Lingard, Pereira and Pogba can play. You've got 5 players there. And imagine, Gomez will probably go on loan if he stays. But you've got 5 players in the attacking midfield position. Look, I don't think Lingard and Pereira are good enough, and I think Mata's past it. But those 3 players might all be here next season. And then you've got Bruno and Pogba who can play that position as well. So we've got depth. The depth isn't good enough. But if you can't... United have said this for a while. Whether it's Solskjaer or Mourinho or Van Gaal, United have been saying this for a while. You can bring a player in, but you can ship some out first. And... who's going to buy Pereira? Who's going to buy Lingard? Who's, Mata? So, as I said, look, we can all make our own minds up, but I don't see Grealish coming if Pogba stays. Mark, with Smalling and Sanchez expected to come back because no one can afford them, will we sign anyone? Sanchez wages can accommodate 3 very good players. I mean, Mojo, you've depressed us all again. You've gone and done it again. You've depressed us by mentioning that word that we always brings us down, Sanchez. I mean, look. I've just mentioned another player there. Mr. Hindle, I don't know what you're talking about here. He says, Mark for brandnewyoutube.com. Stop wasting your money on stuff that's just silly. So, yeah, I'm not reading any more out, so stop making those contributions. I appreciate the super chats, but if you're going to do them, people, like the majority, ask a good question. But yeah, Sanchez is still here. I mean, Thomas, add Sanchez into that position as well. Yeah, the Grealish thing looks even more unlikely if Pogba stays, doesn't he? I don't know what we're going to do with Alexis Sanchez because there's absolutely nobody going to buy him. I think the best thing we can do is loan him out and pay off his wages again. Smalling, I think there'll be a taker for Smalling. I think he's done fantastically well in Italy. There will be a taker for Smalling, whether it's a loan deal or not. Is Mbappe and Dan James the fastest player? Says Ray. Don't know. Rojo, I think will stay over in Argentina. Michael Jones. Jamie Lambert says, how is everybody? And why get rid of Smalling before Bailly, Jones and Rojo, says Tyler James. I'm calling it Bellingham £25 million and Sancho 90 million, says Big Knight. I'll tell you what, that you're probably the most accurate on those two, mate. I'm not going to disagree with you. I think Bellingham will be around 20. I actually think we'll get Bellingham for about 15 real money, and it'll have a load of incentives on it. And Sancho, as I've said before, we're not going to pay any more than 89 million. Do you think Dennis Rodman would survive in today's social media world? Ask me anything, Mark, says Trent Singh. Is he not on social media anyway? I mean, he's not dead, is he? I don't know. You know what? I wish football had a bit more personality in it. Marcus Rashford on this lockdown has been very interactive, and he's done some brilliant things for charities and schools and stuff like that. It's great. But I don't think that we are in a position where we've got personalities in football anymore. Zlatan was probably the last big personality, wasn't he? Gascoigne was brilliant. Roy Keane had a personality. I think footballers today live in such a bubble that we just don't get to see personalities because they're all managed out of it. And then what happens is you get these stories of such and such footballer getting drunk and leaving his car in a road, such and such footballer spending a night at a sex party, and you think, oh, that's outrageous, but they probably have a personality, but they're just in the real world that they're not allowed to have that. I mean, I grew up with football as a kid, and footballers were down the pub after the match and drinking and everything like that. And I've read a lot of books about footballers who had drug addictions, drink addictions, gambling addictions, and yet they were playing for England and some of the top clubs in England as well. So yeah, football. I mean, every footballer's got an agent. Every footballer's got a contract that says you can do this, that, and the other. So, I mean, I know we're talking basketball there, but be more interested to see how Gascoigne would be in a world like this, because I don't think he'd be able to have that. Pogba's got a huge personality but gets shut down, says Ash G. And Sanchez says, Osman, Van der Beek, Ferran Torres, it's strength and depth that wins you titles, not individuals. Smalling retained, Rojo Jones sold, Sanchez on loan again, Lingard sold, and we signed Sancho and Bellingham. Would this be feasible, and will it keep the net spend down too? I'd like to think that's all possible, Mojo, and I think it was all very possible before the lockdown. What I think, in some ways, selling players for United is going to be harder than buying players, and buying players might be quite difficult because of the financial crash, but selling players is going to be really difficult because, unfortunately, one of the bad things about the Woodward Glazer United over the last 7 years has not only been the recruitment of players, it's been the wages that we pay. Phil Jones will be on a lot of money. Phil Jones is probably one of the best paid centre-backs in the Premier League on average. He'd certainly probably be in the top 25%. So how do you get a club to pay him them wages when I think he signed a 5-year contract last year? I'm sure we gave Phil Jones a 5-year contract a year ago. So for somebody to take Phil Jones, they're going to have to pay him the 80 grand a week he's on at United, let's say as an example, which puts him in the top 25% paid centre-backs in the Premier League, and probably in the world, actually, because the Premier League is one of the best paid leagues in the world. What are the board's current view on Ollie, says Drew Hansen? At the moment, very happy with him, 100% behind him. I think there was a wobble in January, but I think the Bruno signing and a good run of fixtures in February and early March. Edward Wood doesn't want to sack another manager because it reflects badly on him. He got Moyes wrong, he got Mourinho wrong, he got Van Gaal wrong, and if he gets Ollie wrong as well, it reflects badly on him. So they desperately want this to work, and they'll definitely try and stick by it as long as they can, which at the moment is the right decision. I think we all agree with that. Do you think Twensebi can step up, says Tyler James? He's just got to stay fit. You know, we talk about bringing centre-backs in, whether it's Koulibaly, Konate, Upamecano, whoever. But actually, if Twensebi steps up and stays fit, you wouldn't need those players. Bellingham or Grealish or both, says Stephen Bihari. Well, I asked this question on last night, didn't I? And Adam went with Grealish, and I think Ricky I can't remember what Ricky said. But I would go with Bellingham, because I think Bellingham plays in a position that we actually require, which is the sort of more defensive midfielder. So I would go Bellingham. I think he's got the potential to be really something special. Whereas I think if Pogba stays, the Grealish thing is a little bit more confusing for me. What do you think of Demiral from Juventus, says Jake Minton? Look, he's a good player. De Ligt's a good player. I know he's not had a great season, but I think De Ligt's a good player. And I think that Amatish Singh, I'm sorry about that. But these are players that they won't offer up to us. So Juventus, as I said last night, they're not going to give us the players that we would want. They're going to give us the players they don't want for a player that we want to keep in Pogba. So I think swap deals are going to be a thing. It surprised me when Fabrizio said it, but I think swap deals are going to be a thing. But from United's point of view, I don't think swap deals will work out well. Who can we give to Dortmund for Sancho? Who's going to want to go to Dortmund? Nobody. Who can we get from Juventus for Pogba? Nobody that they're going to give us. So I don't see United doing any swap deals. I think we're going to have to spend money. Anyway, look, thanks everyone for watching. Smash a like on the video. Subscribe if you're new. Big day tomorrow, 2:30 on Mark Goldbridge That's Football. It's the Champions League final with my FIFA career mode. Can I finish it on a positive? The obsession it's become. Will the new structure at United really help our recruitment? It's very vague and hazy because the final authority to approve the funds will still be with Woodward. I don't think anything's changed, Mojo, in relation to United's recruitment, other than I think that Ollie's got a different sort of type of player that he wants. I think if Mourinho was in charge, we'd still be buying 28, 29-year-olds because I think Woodward takes his lean from the manager. I think it's working at the moment because Ollie's got an idea of the sort of player that he wants to bring to the club. Back in the morning with the latest United transfer news and news, of course. Have a very good evening. Smash a like, and I will speak to you very soon. Nearly 1,000 likes as well, so please smash a like on the video. I'll speak to you all soon. Thanks everyone for watching. Everyone who's been getting involved in the chat, in the comments, everyone who's asked a question, the super chats as well, and I'll see you tomorrow. Thanks everyone.